2019 question paper. So there are a lot of questions in this. I have begun with a few selected questions today, and we'll continue the later part of this again. So I hope you are all doing well at your home and doing something that is making you happy and at peace. So let's begin without wasting much time. So the first question here is the name reaction which is used for the conversion of salicylaldehyde to catechol is. So we have four options here: Wills-Meyer-Hack, Shapiro, Riemann-Tiemann reaction, and Dakin reaction. And our answer here is Dakin reaction. So now I'll be giving you what Dakin reaction is. So this actually deals with the conversion of 2 or 4 hydroxybenzaldehyde or ketone to form a benzene diol and carboxylate on reaction with hydrogen peroxide and base. So we have three components on the reactant side, which is a 2 or 4 hydroxybenzaldehyde, or it can be a ketone, along with hydrogen peroxide and the base. And it on the product side, we will be having a benzene diol and a carboxylate. Further on hydrolysis, it can form something like formic acid. So this is the reaction in brief. That is salicylaldehyde. You can see the structure here. Peroxide will be there, and also you know what is peroxide. There will be OOH. Okay, and also we have O3H. Okay, I'm sorry. And if we hydrolyze that, we'll be getting catechol and formic acid. So here I have given this structure because this question can be asked in another way as well. Like they can give you the reaction and ask you to give the name of the reaction, or like they can ask you to give the structure of the product or the reactant. So just keep this in mind and write this down. And also I have not taken the structure from anywhere, like I did not copy paste. I have drawn the structure in Chemro and then pasted it. So yeah, that's it. Now I'll go to the second question. So before going to second question, okay, I'm sorry, I have written a brief note on what are the conversion in the other three options of this question. That is, in Wills-Meyer-Hack, what happens is a substituted amide reacts with a phosphorus oxychloride and an electron-rich arene, and what we'll get as a product is an aryl aldehyde or ketone. That is, there will be an amide, phosphorus oxychloride, an electron-rich arene, and we'll get an aryl aldehyde or ketone. Then Shapiro reaction, this is base-induced reaction, and we will be always having tosyl hydrazone, and the product will be alkene. So also there will be organolithium compound in the reactant side. Further, Riemann-Tiemann reaction, in this phenol is converted into an orthohydroxybenzaldehyde using chloroform, base and acid, and the example is phenol to salicylaldehyde. That will be the example. And I have also done a detailed video on all the important name reaction, which covered all these reactions with the mechanism in brief. So I'll be putting the link of that either in the description box or at the end of the video. Please do watch that. It will be really helpful for you. I have covered over 20 to 30 name reactions in certain videos, which is extremely important for MSc entrances. So next question is the terpene that contain carbonyl group among the following is. So I'll be soon doing a video on terpenes and alkaloids, terpenoids, etc. So this will be really helpful for you, that video, because mostly you have to come across the structures at least once to answer these kinds of questions. So the options we have here is limonene, camphor, 3-carine and alpha-pinene. So the answer here is camphor. That is the terpene which has carbonyl group is camphor, and we can see why, because these are the structures of all the four options that are given. We can see that from this, camphor is the one which is having a carbonyl group attached to it. So soon I'll be doing a video covering all the structures and tabulating all the important information that you need from all these parts, like terpenoids and all the biomolecules. Okay, so we'll go to the third question now. The third question is, chromosomes are made up of. So we have an option: RNA and proteins, DNA and RNA, DNA and proteins, lipid and proteins. This is also very important question in Hyderabad Central University entrance examination. You can basically find questions from all parts of organic chemistry, like biomolecules. We can see plenty of questions from biomolecules and polymer part, apart from the name reaction portions and the normal like elimination reaction, substitution, all those will be there. Apart from that, reagent chemistry and biomolecules are also very important. That's why I have covered this question also. So the answer is DNA and proteins. So each of the chromosome is made up of DNA, which is tightly coiled on proteins, which are known as histones. Please remember this term histones, so that it will be helpful for you in later on. It will be helpful for you. Okay. Now, the next question is, which of the following is not an extensive property? So I have covered this very thoroughly in the thermodynamics video, where I have discussed all the formulas necessary for thermodynamics and certain shortcuts and tricks as well. So please do watch that video also. I'll give the link in the description box. It is important for you. So the options are mass, volume, heat capacity, and specific heat. And the answer is specific heat. So what exactly is an extensive property? So an extensive property is the property whose magnitude depends upon the amount of matter. And I have given almost all the extensive property here. Mass, volume, internal energy, heat content, free energy, enthalpy, entropy, heat capacity, surface energy, everything is extensive property. And when the magnitude of the property does not depend upon the amount of matter, it is known as intensive property. And example of this is temperature, pressure, surface tension, viscosity, refractive index, density, specific heat, etc. So that is, they are independent of the mass of the system. So that are intensive properties. Please do keep in mind this. This is not just important for one entrance examination. This can come for any entrances. Like, this is a very conceptual thing and basic thing. You have to keep this in mind. And the fifth question. So the major product obtained by the reaction of cyclohexanone, this is oxime, sorry for the mistake here, this is oxime, cyclohexanone oxime with concentrated H2SO4 is. So we have four options here: cyclopentane carboxaldehyde, NN-dicyclohexyl carbodiamide, bakelite, and caprolactam. So our answer is caprolactam. So what do you think? Does this reaction seems familiar to you? Yes, of course. This is the Beckmann rearrangement. So what happens in a Beckmann rearrangement? We'll be having a cyclohexanone, then we'll be reacting with NH2OH to form cyclohexanone oxime. So this is the structure of cyclohexanone oxime, which further reacts with sulfuric acid to form caprolactam. And we do know the relevance of caprolactam in the case of polymer chemistry, because this is the monomer. Yeah, so I have already discussed the mechanism of this one also in the previous video. So I hope you will be watching that and it will be beneficial to you. And yeah, so what happens is cyclohexanone will be there, and further cyclohexanone will form cyclohexanone oxime, and as well as further forms the caprolactam. Yes, that's it. Then I'll go to the next question. The next question here is, the reagent which is the source of nitrogen in Gabriel synthesis of amines is. So the options are, option A, sodium azide, option B, potassium thalamide, option C, potassium cyanide, option D, sodium nitrite. So the answer is option B, potassium thalamide. And I'll be discussing the reaction in the next slide. So in this, what happens is, the potassium thalamide is N-alkylated with primary alkyl halide to give corresponding N-alkyl thalamide, which further forms a primary amine. So here we can see there is the potassium thalamide here, and here I have taken ethyl chloride as an example. So it will be forming N-ethyl thalamide. That is here at the nitrogen position, the alkyl group gets attached, and further on reaction with NH2, it will be forming ethyl amine. So this is the basic reaction in Gabriel's synthesis of amines. Okay, so please keep this in mind, and if possible, please write down all these reactions. It will be helpful for you when you revise for the examination in the coming days. That's it. Now we'll go to the seventh question. So the seventh question here is elemental fluorine is produced by the electrolysis of. So we have four options here: aqueous hydrogen fluoride, aqueous potassium hydrogen fluoride, anhydrous hydrogen fluoride, a mixture of potassium fluoride and hydrogen fluoride. So last year there was some confusion regarding this question. So we will be dealing with industrial chemistry here. I have taken the answer according to the industrial perspective, and in the industrial perspective we can see that the electrodes of a mixture of potassium fluoride and hydrogen fluoride will form the elemental fluorine. So electrolysis of potassium fluoride and hydrogen fluoride mixture, actually what happens is hydrogen and fluoride ions are reduced and oxidized in a steel container, cathode and a carbon black anode under 8 to 12 volts to generate hydrogen and fluorine gas respectively. Okay, so that's the answer of this question, option D, mixture of potassium fluoride and hydrogen fluoride. The next question is the number of possible stereoisomers of glucose is. So the answer here is 16. So how do we get that? Again, I have dealt with this portion and this equation earlier in one of the videos. Please do watch the organic chemistry lecture videos I have done. So the structure, if a structure has n stereocenters, there will be 2 raised to n different stereoisomers. So when n is equal to 4 here, like in glucose, we are having 4 stereocenters. And so there will be 2 raised to 4, that is 16 possible stereoisomers. So what you have to do, you have to draw the structure of whatever organic compound is given to you, calculate the number of stereocenters, and then substitute it into the equation 2 raised to n, and you can see the number of possible stereoisomers. And there are some other considerations to these kinds of questions, there are difference in formulas also. Even that I can give the link in the description box. Watch that one as well, it will be easier for you. So yes, so this is the 8th question. Now we'll be going to the 9th question. The calcium estimation in milk is generally performed by. So here we have four options: gravimetric analysis, precipitation titration, complexometric titration, and redox titration. So again, as I said, some questions have certain disputes in the answers. One such question was this one, where people were confused with precipitation titration and complexometric titration. So I have gone through a few papers to get the answer of this question, and definitely the answer would be complexometric titration. And we have studied during our MSc, like even in the first year, we do a lot of complexometric titration, and mainly the cation that is under consideration for the complexometric titration is Ca2 plus itself. So definitely calcium estimation in milk is generally performed by the complexometric titration. And yeah, that would be the answer here, option C, complexometric titration. So the final question that we are dealing today is, among the following, the drug which contain beta-lactam unit is. So as I said, in Hyderabad Central University, usually the questions come from a wide variety of area, like all kinds of, like chemistry in daily life, biomolecules, the drugs and other important areas where chemistry is covered, industrial chemistry, and everything is important. So that's why I have taken question from all those regions, so that we can cover all of them in one video and then go to the portion of physical chemistry problems and other part. So the answer of this question is penicillin. So let's see the structure of penicillin. So the structure of penicillin is this, and this particular unit here, that is a 4-membered with a double bond O. This unit is actually called the beta-lactam unit. And so the answer for the drug which contain beta-lactam unit is penicillin. Please keep this structure in mind so that it will be helpful for you later on. And I'll definitely do a video covering all the biomolecules part, because I think it is really important for BHU as well as HCU. Those two entrance examinations are really covering the portions of biomolecules. So I hope that will be helpful for you, and soon I'll be uploading that video. Please study really well. I'll be continue making the second part of this video, as well as CUSAT and all the MSc entrances. Please keep watching the channel for more videos. Subscribe if you have not subscribed it yet, and watch all the videos that I am giving in the description box and at the end of the video, so that it will be helpful for you to cover the theoretical part of this. Thank you so much. All the best, and keep calm and study really well. Thank you.